lobby. There's going to be a basics of like communication. So I'll kind of show you or let you guys know what your hour and a half is going to consist of. So it's going to consist of a couple phases. The first phase is going to be me talking for about 7 to 12 minutes of the 3 basic roles of communication in Overwatch. Then after that, we're going to spend about 2 to 5 minutes or so picking roles and changing some settings around, making it a little more easier for you guys to do the communication and simulate a scrim as much as possible. The next phase is going to be pretty much the majority of the phase, usually ends up being around like an hour and 10 depending, and that's going to be where we're playing, and that's going to be where you guys are communicating with yourselves and stuff like that, and rotating communication and stuff to that effect. So that's pretty much what our time is. So do any of you guys have any questions before we get started on this lobby? Because I do have some time for a couple questions if you guys have any. No? Okay then, let's go ahead and get started. So there's 3 basic roles when it comes to Overwatch communication. You have your target caller, or you have your shot caller, you have your target caller, and then you have your ult tracker. I say these in a specific order because these are the order that they talk in. Your shot caller is going to be the first one to talk. If you are not a shot caller, which is going to be the other 5 people, your job during this is to shut the fuck up and let them talk. It is very key to get this plan and get this person's information out as fast as possible. And if you're cluttering comms with other information and useless stuff that doesn't need to go on, it will stagger comms and make things go a little slower. Remember, Overwatch is a very fast-paced game. You don't have a lot of time to make plans and stuff like that. So speaking of plans, that is what our shot caller is going to be doing, is planning to win. With that being said, the first thing that they're going to be doing as a shot caller is picking our team comp, and usually want to be doing this as soon as they load in the match during that hero select screen. That's what you want to be doing, making team comps, knowing what the map is, what side we're on, what's going to work well synergy wise, stuff like that. Next thing is you're going to be pathing, and this is not necessarily going to be pathing through the whole game. You're just going to be pathing, giving us an idea of like, oh, we should take top left, we should go back right, we should go around this area. You can give that pathing. Your main tank will be the main one pathing, and if your main tank is not your shot caller and stuff, and you say, all right, let's go left, and then your main tank is getting forced out and they know they can't go left, they're going to say, all right, we need to pull out, we need to go right, and they can path and do their job as what a main tank would normally do as somebody who's communicating with their team. Next thing is going to be, and this is going to be mid-fight stuff that you're going to be doing as a shot caller, is telling us if we need to continue engaging or if we need to get out and reset. This is very, very crucial to make sure we get fights. We don't take 30-second, 40-second fights where the defenders are just getting so much value from wasting our time. You want to make sure we're taking fights. If it's a lost fight, then get out. If it's close and we can't win with ultimates, just reset or use ults to invest and stuff like that. Do something. You got to make sure you're communicating with your team so we know what we need to do. And last but not least is going to be ultimate managing. This is going to happen after the fight's kind of over or before the fight's starting, if we reset or something like that. And this is going to happen to say, hey, we're going to use this ult, we're going to use this ult. That's all we need to know is what ults we're going to use each fight. You don't need to tell us why, and this is a big thing when it comes to a lot of players when it comes to communication. Keep things short and sweet. We don't care why you're telling us to play this hero. We don't care why you're telling us to use this ult. Just tell us what the fuck we're doing so we can do it. Keep everything as short and sweet as possible, alright? And that's pretty much what the basics of the shot caller is going to be doing. Now, the next thing is going to be a target caller. Target caller, they call targets. If you're not a target caller, your main job is to relay information. Now, if you're one of the 5 people that are going to be relaying information, your main job when relaying information is to call out anything that you may see on your screen that could be of value, abilities, out of position, HP, stuff like that you can call out. And then also only saying it one time. If you're relaying information, it only needs to be said once. It doesn't need to be repeated, because that is what our target caller is going to be doing. They're going to be repeating targets. They're going to be hyping everybody up. That is the tone and the vocal stuff that you want to be bringing when you are calling targets. If you're monotone and falling in line with everybody relaying information, we're not going to know who to focus. So when you're calling targets, you're like, right, sorry. You want to make sure you're talking fast, calling repeating targets, so we have one voice to listen to through all of the relay of information, so we know who to focus down. So keep that in mind. Now, there's 4 things that you're going to be basing all of your target calls on who we need to focus, and I'll list these from the hardest thing and the most uncommon thing to the easiest and most common thing that's going to happen. All right, so the first thing that's going to be the most uncommon and the hardest thing to call is low HP targets. Reason why is because I don't know how many times you guys come out of spawn and you go to the enemy team and you're like, oh, they're all low HP, let's go focus one down. Right? That's not going to happen. Somebody gets low, then yeah, you can call that out, but by then we should already be calling another target. So low HP is going to be one of the harder things that you're going to see, and most uncommon thing that's going to happen. Next thing is going to be out of position targets. So somebody may be in our back line, or somebody may walk too forward, or they don't rotate correctly with their team, or drop off a high ground accidentally. All these things don't happen so often, but it will happen a little bit more than the low HP and stuff like that. Next thing is going to be abilities used, and this can be abilities used by our team and their team. So if they use Cryo Freeze, or they use Mora's Wraith or Reaper's Wraith, any of these things that can happen, you can focus those targets down. Say if we use an anti-nade, somebody's antied. Say somebody's hooked, or somebody's hacked or frozen. All these things we can focus targets because we use an ability on them. So these are things you want to kind of keep an eye out for, and this is stuff that you're going to be hearing your team tell you as well. As a target caller, you're going to hear all these things we need to relay to our target caller, and they cipher through all this stuff that's going on and filter and say, okay, this is our best target, we need to go from that. And remember, when you're calling targets, you only have a couple seconds to call that target. If it takes you 3 seconds to call a target and it was an ability base, by the time you call that target, it's going to take us another 2 seconds to focus it, and now they already have that ability back online. So keep in mind when it comes to your speed, when it comes to picking targets and stuff to that effect. Next thing, and this is going to be the most common and the easiest thing to call targets on, call targets that everybody on your team can hit. So this is super easy. Now you're wondering, all right, how do I know who everybody can hit? So look at your team comp and pick the least mobile and closest range hero on your team and call a target that they can hit. Because if they can hit that target, everybody on your team should be able to also hit that target. So for examples, you're looking at Briggs, you're looking at McCree's, Maze, Ryan, Reaper, Sigma, Zarya. Any targets that they can hit, call that target first and then swap to something else if something better comes up. But ideally, you should just be able to call that target and then go from there. If you don't ever know what target should go for, just pick whatever your Ryan's going at, or whatever your Briggs fighting, whatever your Sigma's fighting, whatever these least mobile and closest range heroes are fighting, call targets that they can hit, because then at least you know for sure you have that target that can hit them. All right, so kind of keep that in mind when it comes to that target calling and stuff. Now, last but not least, is going to be our alt tracker. Now our alt tracker is going to be talking during the cleanup phase, during that reset and stuff like that, and all they're going to be doing is tracking enemy ultimates. Now if you're not a alt tracker, the thing that you're going to be doing is going to be the same thing that you're going to be doing when our shot caller is talking, is shutting the fuck up. You let them talk, let that information get out, and then our shot caller will talk after. Now keep in mind, both of the shot caller and alt tracker will be kind of talking one right after the other. So once that fight's over and our shot caller says, oh, this fight's over, and our alt tracker starts talking, just let them talk. And then shot caller, that's when you want to talk once our alt tracker gets that information out, because you want to be making plans based off of what they may be trying to do that fight. And then alt tracker, you're going to be looking at 4 things as well. This isn't really in a specific order. They all work well together, so you have to kind of keep all of these things kind of in your mind when playing. So one is going to be kill feed. So obviously somebody showing them the kill feed, they're probably a little bit higher on alt charge. Next thing, look at who's on fire. Just because they're not in the kill feed doesn't necessarily mean they didn't get a lot of that damage off. So that's something you want to look at as well. Next thing, and these last two really go hand in hand, is one, look at mirrored composition. So if we're running a Rhine v Rhine, I use this example all the time. If we're running a Rhine v Rhine and we won the fight, their Rhine died early, our Rhine's on fire, stuff like that, and our Rhine's at 80% on ultimate, you can probably assume their Rhine may only be at 50 or 30 or 20, or depending on when he died. So look at your own team and then just kind of mirror it that way, based if we won or lost a fight. That's one of the easiest ways to do it there. And then the last thing is going to be, just pay attention to what's going on around you. Is there DPS on the high ground shooting down on us? excuse me, is their tanks getting out with low HP, so their supports are able to heal them. Their supports are probably going to be a little higher. These are all things that you want to kind of look around and understand what's going on with your team when it comes to that. So those are the little pro tip when it comes to giving out this ultimate use or ultimate tracking is give a name and a percent. We don't need to know if they used it last fight or if they're going to blah 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 or if they were getting damaged. We don't give a shit. Just tell us what the percentage is. That's all we need to know. So name percent. If you don't know 0, 50, 100, anything's going to be better than nothing, so we can have some type of idea or plan or something like that. All right, so that's pretty much the first phase of me talking and everything. Does anybody have any questions or anything that I may have not have gone into as much detail or something else that you just want to ask? No? Okay, so now gets to be the fun part. So for this next part, everybody be quiet, mute your mic, don't type, don't say anything until I open up the communication. Once I open the communication, then you guys will be able to talk. Now, this next phase is going to where you guys get to pick your roles. So how this will go, for examples, I'll ask, hey, does anybody want to be any roles? If anybody wants to pick a role, then first come, first serve. The roles are shot caller, target caller, alt tracker, if anybody wasn't paying attention. And then speak up and practice a role that you want to do. If nobody says they want to be any roles or anything like that, then I'll go in order. Does anybody want to be shot caller? Going once, twice, and then I'll pick something that I think should be a shot caller. And then I'll go to the next one until we're out of roles. All right. So that's pretty much it. We are going to stick on the same roles the whole time. So if you are wanting to practice and learn, you will probably be playing that role the whole time so you can get as much practice as possible. If I feel like this person has got a good amount of use on these roles, then if somebody wants to swap, then we maybe can, but ideally I don't want to swap things around too much, just because I want to make sure the person that's getting practice is getting practice, and when I analyze what's going on, I want them to be able to improve. So just kind of keep that mindset when it comes to roles and picking and stuff like that. All right, so now I'll go ahead and open up the communication. Does anybody want any roles?
I'll be shot caller.
Okay, so Disco will be our shot caller. Whoever.
Okay, I'll be alt tracker.
Okay, so Tyler's going to be our alt tracker. Still need a target caller. Going on target caller. Anybody want target call? Going once, going twice. Okay, so you're going to be our target caller.
Roger that.
So does any of you guys have any questions over any of the things that has been said, or anything on your role or anything like that before we get started? No? Okay.
So I'm just like initiating the fight, right?
No, you will be making our team comps. You're going to be telling us which way we should be going, if we need to go like pathing, a little bit of the pathing. Then you're going to be telling us mid-fight if we need to keep engaging or disengaging. And then you're going to be telling us on ultimates if we need to use ultimates before fights. Right. So before fights and at mid-fight if we need ultimates and stuff like that, you can feel free to do that as well.
Right, just planning how to win the fight, basically.
Yep, that's all you're doing. Your main goal is to win the fight and change stuff up if we need to. All right? Any other questions?
I call on team comps to it?
Yes. Okay. So, no other questions? Let's go ahead and change some settings around real quick, and then we'll go from there. So, everybody go into your options, go to sound, and let me know when you guys are there, and then we'll go ahead and start this.
I'm there.
All right, so sound, we're going to go to music, turn that down to 0. We're going to turn it on, we're going to turn subtitles on critical gameplay only. And we're going to go to voice chat mode toward the bottom, put it on open mic. M is to mute your mic by default. Then we're going to go to controls.
Okay.
Then under hero, allied health bars, put that on always. Then we're going to go down to gameplay, and we're going to do always skip kill cam, turn that on. We're going to put kill feed display on, tips display, we're going to turn that off, waypoint opacity down to 0, respawn icon down to 0, player outline strength, turn that up to 100.
waypoint to 0, you said?
Yeah, so the percentages is 0, 0, 100. Okay. Last one, social, career profile visibility, put that on private. Everybody should be on private. Not friends only, not groups only, it should be on private. Let me know when you guys is all done there.
Alright.
So I got 2-3 minutes to answer some questions if anybody has any questions, because we're ahead of schedule by 4 minutes. If you guys have any questions about anything.
What's after subtitles?
In sound or in
Subtitles is
everything?
critical gameplay. What's after that?
Voice chat mode, open mic. Did you get the controls and gameplay and all that stuff already?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, holy shit, you got lost at the first one? Alright, let me go ahead and check profiles, make sure everybody's on private. Okay, so Tyler, have you changed yours on private already?
One sec.
Okay, yeah.
So social and then private, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Dim
So
Dim,
private.
yours is not on private either. So options, social, and then put it on private. Let me know when yours goes through there.
Okay, yeah.
Alright, so Tyler's, yours is good. Okay, so while we're waiting on this to go through, I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of thing on room etiquette. So, 1, no toxicity, please. Everybody is here to learn, everybody's here to improve and stuff like that. You guys will probably suck at doing a lot of this unless you've done it before. If you have done it before, then great. Maybe you get some more practice or something like that. But keep that in mind. I don't expect anybody to be here some top 500 player that's been calling targets for or making plays and alt tracking and stuff for years. Okay, so keep that in mind. Next thing is, please do not try to clutch out a situation or a team fight just because you think it's the right thing to do, okay? So, for example, let's say we have 2 or 3 ults online and our shot caller doesn't tell us to use anything. That does not mean we use these ultimates to use the ultimates, okay? This means our shot caller needs to recognize that we have these ultimates and they need to make those plays. Same thing goes with picking team comps. Don't try to auto pick something right at the start of the match. Let our shot caller pick our team comps and swap stuff out if it's not working. If you feel like it's not working or you know for a fact this does not work here, let them make that decision and let them think of that. Don't tell them that this is wrong and stuff like that. After the match is over, then you want to bring it up. If you're not getting value on your hero, then what you need to say, hey, this hero is, I'm not getting value on this hero. Do you want me to swap to something else? If they say yes, then ask them what they need to swap to, or they'll tell you what they need to swap to. If they say no, then you don't swap anything. If they don't answer you, then you don't swap anything. If there is not an answer given to you, if you ask something, it is a default no. Okay, so keep that in mind. And the reason why is, like I said, I don't want them to be I want them to pass and fail on their own no matter what they're doing. So keep that in mind, and we can talk about it after. If we're in here making our own plays and doing our own thing just because we think it's the best thing, then you're not going to be in their own games. They need to make those decisions for themselves. All right, so if there's no other questions or anything like that, I guess we can go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead. No, let me double check, make sure the profile. Okay, yep, we're all good.
What healers do you guys like to play?
We're all top 500 in everything, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
That is the idea that I want you to have on anything that we play. Everybody here is top 500. We're all pro players, so you need to pick the best team comp based off of team map, side, point of the map, all that stuff, synergy, everything.
Traveling to Eichenthal. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
We want to play like a Mercy Bat, like Rein Zarya.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you want for DPS?
Guess we can go. Maybe. McCree junk.
Okay.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
I'll pick after you, Dim Dim, so you can pick whatever. Whatever they say first. So.
And try to push up mid and just keep pushing straight in.
They have a Junkrat.
Right. It's a trap and a bomb right outside the spawn doors.
Yep.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack.
I'm like, there's a Lucio to the right.
Capture.
They're all right here. Holy
Watch
shit.
that trap.
Somewhere behind us.
Shield down.
Simon.
Left side, left side.
Yeah, can we start calling targets?
Put a shield, put a shield.
My shield's low. My shield's up.
Bugs up here.
Are we still fighting this? Okay, next target.
Left on this hog.
Next target.
On here.
Go for Ana.
Lucio behind.
And back and back. I need heals on the way.
I'm back.
There's a fire behind.
Yeah,
She's half.
Far low.
Ryan's coming in.
Reinhardt needs heals. Go on this Ryan.
Base.
I don't see this far.
Just back up, back up.
Fire's down. Okay, can we go ahead and alt track? Tyler?
Yeah, so I have my own.
No, you're tracking enemy team's ult. We know what ults we have. We can just hit tab.
When we kill him, how do we see their like ult?
Okay, so we'll have to talk about this after. You wasn't listening to how you track ultimates, clearly. So what else are we going to use? Disco.
We're gonna use.
This is why I ask if anybody has any questions. I'm sorry, what was that?
Grab and fire.
grab.
No, okay. That's for boobs.
Paris focusing me behind.
Reinhardt behind.
Right.
Ryan's behind us. They're splitting
Grab
us.
and fire this. Let's grab and fire this.
Go, go, go. We're waiting too long.
Grab target.
I got boots.
I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, alright. So we're not going to have any alt tracking because our alt tracker doesn't know how to alt track, I guess.
Oh yeah. Like,
So,
was
yeah,
that
I already went over that, so we're not
was-
going to go. Yeah, we're not going to go over that. Alright, so Disco, what are we going to be doing this fight?
We're gonna go straight through up here. We're gonna go through castle. Or we're
Okay.
gonna fight
Reinhardt, left side.
No, we're not. Trying to get the bar. We're
Oh,
going up.
the crew's like low HP, hold on.
Go inside. Go inside. Go inside.
They have too much, we can't get through. Okay. That was 2 ultimates from them. Alright, what are we doing?
Still trying to use grab until you're.
Grab tire still? Okay.
Find a good grab and throw it out there. Call it out. On that side, there's a jump inside right. Jump inside right.
Just drop in small room. Just push.
Paris behind us.
Alright, let's grab and fire there. Go.
Yeah, I'm on the fire.
Moving in 3.
Fight that line, right?
Nothing fire.
What's here?
Dead.
Pushing up. Yeah, I'll pay a little more. Call out target.
Alright, are we going to use anything else this fight?
Yeah, we're gonna use high noon.
Okay.
You can do it early.
Yeah, I
Do
am.
it now.
Booped off.
Get Ryan. Dead.
Are we still fighting this?
You can use a valve if you need it.
Oh,
You don't-
Heroes
okay.
never die.
Let's start over.
Call targets, call targets. Who are we on?
Where's the hero?
Doc?
Who are we on? Who are we on? Keep calling, keep calling.
Where's up? So one, dead.
I'm almost back.
It's on right side. It's on right side.
Are we still fighting this? Or do you want to get out?
I'm here with you.
Winston's one above.
Ana's low.
You can continue
My
fighting.
ultimate is
Oh.
charging.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Back up a little. Back up a little. Couple Winston.
Thank you for the follow, Larkin. Don't know where you're from, but thank you.
Let's get you back out there.
That'll get it done.
Pop that.
I'm-
Get this doggy moving.
Little
Right.
early. I'm trying to find a shatter. Hold on to
My
grab.
ultimate
Oh, we're gonna save that.
Okay. So we're using Bapalt this fight?
That ball, and I'm gonna try to look for a hammer down as well.
Okay.
Let's try to let that
I'm
far.
ready to go.
Good shit.
Going up mid. I'm looking for a hammer down.
Good top. Sounds better.
I have high noon. But. Alright.
Okay, so next fight we're gonna grab fire. We got Sunberry.
Let's start over,
Sunberry.
You're from the internet? Okay. Nice one.
Okay.
We get back, wait for our Zarya.
Okay, so we're using Grav, Tire, and what?
Grab and Tire. We got Sunberry out of the way last fight.
Okay. We still going main?
Yeah, watch out for jump up top.
Okay.
Both up top. You could go inside castle. Go on top of this one.
Monkey, monkey.
Go inside the castle.
That's one.
I'm getting canceled.
Is everybody getting value?
I'm not doing terrible, but I'm just really not being able to do anything.
Use promo. Fucking monkey. Nano promo.
Try to counter this. Grab Tire.
Ooh. Who are we on?
I'm home.
I still have high noon.
Still
Oh,
finding
you're down
grab.
Hostiles.
Fire and valve.
Try to find Grab Tire. Even if it's not.
See, the problem is trying to find this Grav Tire. They're playing too far away from us
Grab Tire.
before we can even do anything. We can't close the distance, so they're just melting us down literally every time before we're able to push in. That's why we can't Grav Tire, because we're too far away to do anything.
Here, junkie. Dead.
Like the only way we win this is if we get close to them, and we either run a Lucio, Sim, something to get closest damage.
Karen's behind.
Watch monkey back. Come on in. Still looking for Grab Tire.
One dead.
As far as still behind,
We're gonna Farah and Lucio.
as far as low. I still have high noon.
Use that.
Kill grab.
Need it.
Still have health.
Try to kill the Farah. Yeah, use that. Use high noon.
Okay,
Farah.
wait for it to jump.
Do you want me to back off this fight?
And it's behind.
Do you still want fire? Or do you still want
Their junk is on bridge.
high noon or no?
Yeah, high noon.
Oh, got off the objective.
Gotta work on that, eh?
Okay, so let's go over what was good, what was bad, and then we'll tell Tyler again how you have to alt track. It is.
Okay.
So, we'll go in order. So, shot calling. Shot calling wasn't terrible. We did try to come up with plans and stuff every time, but the problem is we're running the same thing into them and not getting value. even though that we're trying to use these ultimates and stuff, that's great that you come up with a plan, but you gotta realize they're running an Orisa and Spam, and we are running a Reinhardt, Zarya, McCree. We're running a kind of close range comp, right? So the only way we get value from our composition is if we get close range. But they're running a Junkrat, Pharah, Orisa, all these heroes that are just spamming us down where we can't get close to them. So either one, we have to change where our pathing goes, our playstyle, or we may have to switch some of our team comps up. So if we tried changing our playstyle and changing where we're going, we could have took the high ground and took the castle and try to get closer to them without taking any damage. That could have worked, which we did try that a couple times. But the next thing is that we should have swapped our team comp around to either get closer to them by running a Lucio, or either just running something, either running the same thing or running like a dive composition, because like playing a McCree, playing a Junkrat, you're not getting a lot of value. I'm close range, close to mid range, and they're playing so far back. I'm not really, it's taken me 3, 4, 5 shots to hit on the far because she's able to play so far away and still get full damage and full value from her. So keep that in mind on like what you may need to change. Ideally, if you do 2 fights and it's not working, you can try doing an ultimate push, but if you still don't get any value from that, then you probably want to go ahead and do like a swap. Something needs to swap. Something needs to usually switch up. But ideally, try to swap your play style, pathing, and stuff like that before you do any comp swaps, because that's not going to lose you any ult charge. Okay. So keep that in mind when it comes to swapping things up. That was one of the biggest reasons why we wasn't able to get the grav off. We can't even push into him. Like it's we're not even getting close. Like, and ideally you don't want to use the grav tire. That's not really a good combination. You can, but ideally you'd probably want to open with the tire first to zone them out, or open with the high noon to zone them out, because if we use these 2 ultimates there to zone them, that's going to give us space. That's going to create space for our Rhines are to get close, and then we can grav or shatter, and now we'll already be there. But I'm holding on to high noon for 20 minutes. We have our Junkrat hold on to tire forever. All these things that we're trying to wait for these best kind of team kill situations. You don't want to do that. You want to just use one, follow up with another one, follow up with another one if you need it, and keep throwing stuff in if you need to. We're dying with 4 or 5 ultimates there. So kind of keep that in mind. All right, next thing. Target calling, the targets that you were calling seem to be pretty good, and they're pretty much any target that rhymes on, so really good job there. One thing I do want to make sure you're doing is like, make sure you're repeating targets, because in a perfect world where everybody's relaying information, you're going to have a lot of people talking. So if you're calling targets and you're only saying it one time, that's going to go up as relaying information, and we may not be able to hear that if everybody's calling stuff out at one time. So make sure you're trying to repeat the targets so it stays in everybody's head. I want you to be super annoying and only swap target, or only stop calling targets if our shot caller says the fight's over, we can reset, or that there's no other targets left, or that the kill feed is done, or whatever, right? So I want you to repeat targets a little bit more. Your target priority and stuff like that, and when you're calling targets, seems to be pretty solid. I just need you to repeat it more so you can be a little more annoying during the fight, so we know who we need to keep focusing.
Roger that.
And then alt tracking. So Tyler, you wasn't listening for the alt tracking. So it is tracking enemy ultimates. You're tracking ultimates based off of what the kill feed is, if they're on fire, what our team comp may have, on like mirroring. So if we're running a Rhine and they're running a Rhine, if our Rhine's at 80 and we won the fight and stuff, you can probably assume their Rhine may only be at 50 or 40 or something like that. Also, you're paying attention to what's going on, how long they've been doing damage, what the angles they've been playing at. All these things is what you're going to be looking at during the match. The reason why kill cams are off is because in scrims, tournaments and stuff, you don't have kill cams. There are no kill cams. So it's trying to simulate a scrim as much as possible, to where you actually have to track ultimates. The main TH, you look like Winston. Okay, I guess that's a compliment. I don't know. Okay. Any questions or anything like that before we get to our next one?
Where allowed to call if people are behind us. and
Yes,
stuff, right?
relaying
before
it.
the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, relaying information is fine. You can call that out all day long. Just don't try to repeat it, because as soon as you start repeating it, it sounds like target calling, which may get confused for target calling. So good question there. Any other questions? No? Okay, let's go to Q. Yo, hello, Crazy Centaur TTTV. Wait, no, TTV. TTV. It's can't touch this. Okay, cool. Hello, welcome to the stream. There's been a lot of follows and subs today, so I'm happy. There's a lot of people here and a lot of people enjoying the content.
Your defenses.
Alright, let's go. What are we doing here?
Ash. And Ash and Mercy
Okay.
with Orisa Sig.
Okay. What do you want for your other DPS?
A soldier.
Okay.
My business, my rules.
Attackers
let's go with the
incoming
Bab
in
again,
30
too.
seconds.
Statistically speaking, I usually get most of my team back. Who's counting?
For optimal chance of survival, stay in the edge of my barrier.
We're gonna hold.
Where?
We're gonna have
5,
Sig and Ash up top
2,
with
1.
Baptiste
Attackers
or with
incoming.
Mercy. We're gonna have Bap down here with me.
Not do that too hard.
Right side, bro.
Watch that Roadhog.
Shield down.
This is half.
Shield burning.
Mine's low.
Back up a little bit, soldier.
Tanks here. In the right one. Hog.
Somebody get me some healing.
I got you.
No shields.
Hog.
Ash, I fell down. Like, can you peek for me on your right hand side?
Hog card.
Alright, so we have some alts coming in, so are we gonna use anything? Because I have Bob. We have 5 alts. Almost.
That's all.
Echo will be at half right soon.
What are we using? I'm dead.
Who's here? Hog behind us.
I have window.
Do you want me to Valk from Swan?
Use visor.
That was
Use
not
post the visor there.
Alright, what are we using? Are we still fighting
Focus
this?
shield,
Are we
focus
still doing stuff? What are we doing?
Run feeding.
So Bob? Alright, I'm coming back in now. I'll be here in a second. Hold on. Alright, I'm throwing Bob.
Hog
Do you want me to run for a Valk?
Tanks along. Hog right here.
More ults. That hard.
Corner room here. Shield behind us.
Mercy. One hog. Hog's on.
Good echo.
Mercy's on.
The Echo hasn't reached out yet. It's probably going to use our Sigma.
Okay. What are we gonna use this fight?
Visor this fight. Visor, Sigma.
Okay.
Here it comes.
Sigma and Visor.
Bab and Sigil, you said?
Sigma and Visor.
Ugh.
I
Go
could
ahead.
review here.
Yeah. She's not welcome.
She our Sigma.
Heroes never die.
I Valk.
Visor. We're not
Dual visor activated.
Ryan.
They're burning. I have Bob. Do you want Bob here or no?
Yeah, so you put Bob on point.
Do something!
Right here.
I'm dead though.
Fine, that's good.
Ryan's low.
They're on the point. Dog's
Try to
on
hold
the point.
point. Try to hold point. I'm gonna use the
I
result
wanna
here.
get you for that.
Lucio.
Special attack.
It's taking us like 3 or 4 seconds to like confirm something,
Go on that.
which is taking too long.
Echo alone. Echo alone.
Echo's half. Echo's down. They're burning.
Hog still here. I ult again.
Help your Ash on the left, please.
Let's go ahead and use signal.
Okay.
I'll just hog and back up.
Hog's one.
Lucio.
Do something!
That's Bob on point.
Lucio's one. Not anymore.
Do you want me to block this fight?
I window.
Yeah, let's go out
I have Bob in like 10.
Shield.
Heroes never die.
Ryan.
Oh, I got.
Oh, shit. Alright,
Dang.
use window.
He's dead.
I'm not dead.
Yeah, we're dead.
Yeah, come back.
Okay. Can we ult track while we have some time, Tyler?
Yeah. The Reinhardt hasn't shattered in a bit, so I think he's gonna have it.
Okay, so you're taking a little too long. Name percent.
Oh, 8%. Okay.
Lucio's just chasing me.
Okay, so what else are we going to be using this fight?
We're gonna hold top ground here. We're gonna use Bob on point.
Okay.
And then that doesn't put out enough. Activating the barrier.
You want me to still use Bob here?
Yeah.
Okay.
We still need Bob! Do something!
Alright, if we can get soldier on high ground, we can have him use his visor after this. Go ahead and visor.
Good shield. Good shield. Ryan. Visor activated.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Soldier 76.
The Echo is due 20
Echo?
More ult.
Okay.
The Reinhardt might be.
Spam it.
Reinhardt might be looking for a shatter soon.
Okay. Let's go and ult track again, Tyler. What are they?
Set on the high ground.
The Reinhardt probably has 100%.
Okay.
Sig, you're gonna ult this fight.
Okay. Behind.
That's not
Hog
hard.
yourself.
Good.
So on this high ground here. Whenever you find it.
I have windows still.
Lucio.
Hold on to the thing. You use sig ult when they push up the point.
I'm coming lower, Mercy. Hold on.
Better.
I recommend keeping behind my guy.
Okay. So we're still using Bap ult this fight?
You're here.
Heroes never die.
Yeah, we can battle.
Bob.
Alright, Sig.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Sigma.
Go ahead and use that window.
The battle continues. 60 seconds.
Second.
Let's group up on
Echo.
right side.
Soldier, can you put? Yeah, thank you.
Hog here.
Watch for Mercy top.
Alright, I'm gonna use this
Shield.
ult.
Look at shield.
Smoke them out of there.
I still have
Ryan here.
Team up for special attack.
I have Bob.
They're under.
I got blue from on top.
Lucius behind. Hogs behind. Watch for hook. Oh shit! Echo got me top right.
Right here.
Echo's top right.
Echo's gonna have her out here in a minute.
Are we using stuff? Are we backing out? What are we doing? Disco.
seconds.
Back up now.
Okay.
Their next ults should be, I believe, Ash and maybe Roadhog.
Okay. What are we doing here, Disco? We keeping everything the same? And what ults are we changing? Or doing?
Let's
here. Everyone here.
Yeah, I think we keep everything the same.
Okay. Are we using anything else this fight?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Let's here.
I see him. He's half.
Mercy.
Fuck. You said bat ball?
Shit behind Lucy 5.
I see him.
Revive her through this.
No, you put... Our soldier's not back from spawn yet. I still have Bob. Do you want Bob?
Still a flux.
Alright, yeah.
What? Yes, what?
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Right.
You can use Sigil. Right. Switch here.
I still have Bob. Do you want Bob or no? Yeah?
Where does that go? We're sitting on right side. Walk on right side.
You want Bob?
Right side. Echo Hawk.
Echo's back right.
Brian is probably at 70%.
Echo.
Or a hard. Sorry, or hard. I got too low. Too low.
Window.
I'm jumping up. Mercy, if you need to fly it.
Yeah, we can use window and geyser.
Look at Hawk real quick.
Window visor.
Brian's probably trying to look for shadow here. Probably really close.
Window and visor together.
I'm down.
At which point?
There's Ryan behind us.
Use Sigil right. Visor there. Go ahead and use
So let's hope the ball to stall.
That was not.
So let's hope ball to stall.
I'm a 90 to
No, he does not. Okay, so much better by everybody. There's still some improvements that we definitely need to work on. One for shot calling is speed of knowing if we need to. So, and this will go from everybody. Everybody needs to speak up a little bit more, especially during the fight. And this is like during shot calling phase, like after the fight's over and when we're alt tracking. Okay, fine, we can hear you because nothing's going on. But when you're trying to tell us what ults we need to use, you need to be like, yes, we need visor, use visor. You need to be telling us because we got shit going on in our ears. That's why I'm asking, what are we using? What are we doing? Because I can't hear you. So you have to make sure, like, when shit's going on and everything's happening and stuff, you have to be, like, talking so that we can use these ultimates. And you need to repeat it a couple times so people know that we need to use this. I heard a couple times where you said use visor 2 or 3 times and we didn't. And I'm assuming our soldier didn't hear it. And there was a couple times where you said use Bob and I didn't hear it. And I'm like, use Bob? Yes? No? What are we doing? So make sure you're repeating the ults that we do need if you don't see it go out. So keep that in mind. Next thing, like I said, is the speed of your answers and stuff like that. If we say, yeah, hey, do you need Bob here? I'm asking because I see an opportunity for me to hit Q right now. If it takes you 5 seconds to do that, I'm not going to get value. Either I can throw Bob or I'm going to die. And that's one of the 2 plays. On first point when I was asking, do we need Bob? And he was like, yeah, go ahead, throw Bob. I was already half health by the time you answered me. I threw Bob, died right after. Because I couldn't get value from both things because it took too long. So keep in mind your speed and stuff like that. So try to be a little faster when it comes to your replies. But if anything, make sure mid-fight you're talking to us a little louder so we can hear you when we need to engage and disengage and use ults and stuff like that. Your planning and stuff on making ults every time is much better. Seems like we're getting a little bit better rotations of ultimates and stuff like that. For everybody here, if we have a plan of using ultimates, use ults to start the fight. Don't wait for them to use ults first. Always use ults to start the fight. And if you don't hear them or something, please double check. Hey, what did you say use this or what? Do we need this? Yes or no? So keep that in mind. Next thing, Target calling, much better. Calling targets multiple times and stuff. One thing I want you to understand when you're calling targets, I hear this, and I think our shot caller might be doing this as well. And these are things that everybody needs to understand on words not to use when it comes to Overwatch. Never say here, over there, or on me. We don't know where the fuck that is. I don't know when you're calling out, like you called out heroes multiple times and you're like, oh, over here, over there. Where the fuck is that? So always give an idea of like left side, right side, on your SIG, on your Orisa, on the point, back left, back right, mega health back, anything that you can kind of give an idea on which way to look. If it's left, right, back, front, that's all you gotta say. Fine, at least say something, but don't say here or there because we don't know where those places are. So keep that in mind when it comes to giving out locations, because you are giving out locations. We just don't know where those locations are. So really good job on that and repeating targets and stuff to keep that going. So good job there. Alt tracking, much better alt tracking. Yeah. Like I said, when alt tracking, all we need to know is name and percent. Just say, oh, Ryan's at 50, Zarya's at 90, Orisa's at 80, blah, blah, blah. Next. That's all we need to know. Mid-fight, when they're telling us, hey, they're going to be looking for shadow this fight, really good calls there, and taking the initiative onto alt tracking. We don't have a lot of time to alt track, so as soon as you feel like the fight's kind of over, go ahead and start sprinkling in that alt tracking, or if mid-fight, if you know they're going to have ults and stuff, just let us know, because that can help us win fights and change our play styles up individually. Because if I know Ryan's going to have shatter, I'm not going to stay on the low ground. I'm going to stay on the high ground. I'm going to make sure I'm taking these angles, stuff like that. I'm going to be ready for this type of stuff. So keep that in mind when it comes to alt tracking, but alt tracking was a lot better there. All right, any questions or anything like that before we go into our next one?
I guess just want to comment off of just your stress of the shot calling. You summed it up really good. Because I was like you. I was like, do you want window? Do you want window and everything? And I couldn't hear a yes or no answer or everything.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
just playing in this game. Don't be afraid to like raise your voice or anything. Because it's not being toxic or anything. If you're just raising your voice to like give a straight answer.
And I also want to mention this too, that we're on this subject. And this happened as well. I think this only happened once. It might have happened twice, but I remember I think it was on third point where I asked, do we need Bob? And then our Sigma asked, do we need Flux? And he was like, yes. And I was like, which one? Because I don't want to throw Bob in and then not get value from the Flux, or I want him to throw Flux in and then not get value, like either one. So make sure you're saying yes to what alt. If multiple people are asking, just say, oh, use this. Just tell us what to use if you feel like we need to use something. Go ahead.
One point he was like, we fluxed window, and then I looked at his flux percentage and it was at like 36, and I was like, huh?
Yeah, so if that, and I'm happy you mentioned that. If that is the case or something, ideally in this lobby specifically, if they say to use something after something else, wait for that first one to come out. In that case, since it's 36%, if you feel like you have an opportunity to use Flux, just go, or not Flux, window, go ahead and ask, hey, do you still want window here? And that will that will give you your answer. So if you don't know and you see an opportunity, you're like, yeah, I can use this, ask, do you want me to use this? And if they say yes, then hit Q. If not, then the answer, like I said, is a default no. Like I think our Sigma was asking at the end, do I need to swap to ball to stall? You never called yes or no, I don't think. So it just kind of, like in these situations, like when we need to stall, you should be telling us swap to fast heroes or something like that, or swap to trace, or swap whatever. You don't have to necessarily give out a whole team comp, but you can say swap to stall heroes or something if we need to do a full swap or something to that effect. But that's a little more advanced things on who's going to go to who. But you can tell specific people to swap to something in this lobby. Just stay on your hero unless you get told to swap to something specific. I don't want to put too much stress on what heroes are going to be the best to stall, stuff like that. All right, any last questions or anything else to say before we get to our next one? No? Okay. Kind of want to get some chicken from somewhere, but I don't
What was
know
that
where.
song you had in your head, by the way?
It's a dubstep song, and it's by a Christian dubstep artist called God's Warrior, and the song is "Oh My Gosh." That's the song name. I've never heard of Christian dubstep. I'm not a big fan of like gospel music or anything like that, but it is. Every song they have made has been pretty much really good. All right, so Disco, this is your call if you want to play this or not. Since you're the shot caller.
Y'all want to play this?
I don't care.
Like,
What it's your
guys
call,
wanna play?
yes or no? Because we got 7 seconds to pick a comp if we're gonna play it. What do you want to do? Yes or no?
Nope.
No? Okay. It's your decision. You
It's way too stressful.
Well, that's the only map that I usually will skip.
Yeah.
But
Personally, when I'm playing quick play, I always skip all 2CP maps. My usual group doesn't like it.
yeah, because I mean, there's not really that you're gonna learn from a lot of 2C. Even in quick play, you're not gonna learn a lot because it's either going to be a huge roll or a huge stall or something like that, and it's not really beneficial to anything. But I don't mind a lot of the only map I don't like is Paris.
That's the only map I don't like.
Now traveling.
Alrighty. What are we going here, Disco?
For battle.
We play
Select
a
your
Lucio, a Baptiste,
Okay.
Lucio Bap. We're gonna go Widowmaker, and a May.
Okay.
Or let's swap out that May for a Reaper.
One shot.
And then we
One
can
kill.
go Reinhardt. So yeah.
Den, what do you normally play? Hit skin or projectile?
Projectile.
Okay, then I'll go ahead default hit skin then. Unless you want to switch.
Yeah, I'm still working on my tracking with my aim.
That's fine. Alright, where are we going, Disco? We going right side,
Oh, you
main?
want this?
Second support if you want.
Going right.
Two.
I said a
Round
go
one.
Moira.
Capture the objective.
Moira by your
I'm not getting
side.
heals.
Speed, right? Speed. We got Diva. We're gonna push them a bit here.
Speed
Get on top of them. Get the speed from Lucio.
Focus shield, focus shield.
Ryan's one.
Diva. I'm on fire! Okay, baby.
Hey, I got point. I missed my grapple. I can get point. Okay.
Widowmaker, you can just hold some high ground. We're gonna
Yeah,
walk
that's
back
why I
up
said I
top
can get
here.
point. I dropped already.
I needed that.
Come back up top here.
My ultimate is
Lucio,
charged.
they're all here.
Damn.
I have
Focus
hammer
shield,
down. I'm
focus
gonna
shield.
try to find a good hammer here.
I can't get. I was gonna say you might want to let him push a little bit.
Focus Ryan, focus Ryan.
Fucking missed it. Okay. Just keep fighting this angle here.
Focus Zarya, high charge.
Don't push him too much.
I can't do anything until they come out of that choke, by the way.
Back
So
up. Oh, we're good.
Zarya 60.
I gotta let my shield charge. Stay back a little.
Ana around 75.
They're going down.
Down left, so we're gonna watch left side.
I got a thing on left side. They're going under. Under.
Bottom,
On a-
bottom.
Tanks come out of left.
The Zarya
Shot
has
left,
a
shot left,
Ryan.
shot
right here.
I'm on Ryan.
Surrender. I
Dead.
will.
Zarya. Dead.
Reaper's one.
Go down.
down.
Keep walking down.
Creek.
Okay. Can we go to alt track, Tyler?
Lead us to victory.
Like a little.
Yeah,
So we're
they're,
gonna use
they're
grab.
Hold on,
Reinhardt
hold on.
is
Tyler's
really
talking.
aggressive. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead,
So
Tyler.
Ryan
Go ahead,
is
Tyler.
probably around 80% and the Zarya has her up for sure.
Okay. What else are we gonna use this fight?
We're gonna use grab and
I have beat.
Reaper ult.
Okay.
They're on the left
Hey,
side.
they're going left.
That's it. Try to find a grab here. And then Reaper, be ready to hop in.
They made a bad choice.
Right on point.
Oh.
Big grab.
Nice.
wanted that.
Bastion's high ground. Bastion's low.
Zarya. Reaper.
Reaper's no wraith.
No Wraith.
Watch Bastion, watch back.
Bastion. Love you in charge. Not.
Back
Sorry.
up. So we're gonna use
The Ana
sights here.
has
No one can hide from
Ana
my
Ana has
sight.
nano. She has.
Use sound barrier
slapped.
for grab. I'm gonna try to find a hammer here. Sound barrier.
Feel something.
Best round.
Oh,
Here
we
we
got
go.
it.
Run.
We're good.
Dang, that was good.
Yeah.
Score.
So I do want to highlight that defensive play by the by our shot caller, saying to hold that beat for their grab. Any of them would have been great. So really good job on that, on calling that out and making that play for a defensive ult, knowing that they have the grab. This is why you ult track, because if we didn't know, they may have not have made that play. All right, are we changing anything up here? If not,
No, we can
yeah.
stick with this.
I was gonna say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it unless you know you gotta swap something on a specific map.
Yeah, we can stick with this. Let's speed this
Capture the
Amp.
straight up mid. We're gonna take the fight on the stairs, right?
They're going main, Bap, Zarya, Reaper, McCree.
Sometime a little bit. Just get a bit aggressive.
Reaper's,
Run.
Immortality's
Run.
done.
Dead.
So Reaper and my shield's
Reaper.
down. Reaper's behind.
Lucio's half.
My shield is down. Let's go start walking. Try to find another pick here. We can get somebody to cap point.
The
Keep
objective
pressuring them
is
a bit.
They're not gonna push.
Keep pressure on them up here.
Zarya.
Zarya no personal.
Zarya no personal.
Reaper. Zarya no friendly.
I need heals.
Run.
Just play on point, guys. Play for point.
Reaper's down.
Zarya no personal.
The Zarya is the
Sorry,
Okay, great. I'm on my way back now.
Oh my god, I'm missing. Lucio's down. Okay, can we ult track?
Hammer down.
The Zarya are playing aggressive. They're probably closest to her ult. And the BAP as well.
I have
BAP is
hammer down.
probably
They're
around
going
60
left
or
side.
50.
Alright, are we gonna use any ults this fight? Zarya's
Yeah,
low.
I'm gonna
No
use
personal.
hammer down.
I can pull if you want me to.
Run.
I have
Friend dead.
Reaper. No Wraith.
Lucio's low.
Grab.
Zarya no
No friendly.
bubbles. Reaper.
No ammo.
We're gonna grab this soon.
I have sights. Do you want sights?
Zarya.
No, we don't need that yet.
Oh.
We're gonna use grab here.
McCree's down.
Zarya has
Grab.
the Zarya is gonna
Hey Mario, can you heal your Widow real
I
quick?
need healing. Heal me.
For ult charge. Thank you.
All the way around. So we're gonna take
Alright.
that same spot.
Let me use sights here or no?
Yes, there's yes, sights.
Okay.
And
Oh,
then
wait.
look for a
No one can hide from my
Okay, guys,
sight.
their Zarya is gonna grab this fight most likely.
Alright, we're gonna have beat for that, right? Look for a Reaper ult here.
Reaper's down. They're rezzing.
Reaper, if you can ult.
Run.
Reaper's half.
Three. Good point.
Bap is half. Bap's one.
Reaper.
At least they don't.
Back.
At least
Zarya no friendly.
Back. Yep, hammer
The
down.
Zarya used grab that fight, so that's good.
Used hammer down as well.
Alright, what are we gonna use this fight?
Okay.
They have a Widow.
I'm gonna try to initiate with
No.
hammer
Where
down.
were we?
Throughout this fight, if we need to, since it'll be last fight for us, we can use.
Run.
You can beat.
Widow's down.
Do you want me to pull?
Hit Q or beat. Beat. He said use beat.
Plan.
triple kill.
Great.
Music to my ears.
They have a soldier.
Cap point.
Push a choke.
He's going around right side coast.
Victory.
Good game.
Now, so much better overall by everybody. Shot calling, much better on like calling ultimates and stuff like that. One thing that I will say, like, try to stay away from saying over here, on there, and stuff like that. When you're saying hold the high ground, just say top right. We're gonna hold top right. Use like over here. And also understand how your team comp is going to work. We're running a Widow, right? How often does Widow play behind Reinhardt?
Right.
Okay, so how am I going to get healed if we're running a Moira and a Lucio?
Makes sense.
So always understand how your team comp is going to work, and if it's going to have good synergy. It did work, so it was fine, but you don't want to start out already having a major flaw and something that the enemy can focus on. Because if I grapple to you guys, that's great, but I mean, I won't get healed until I get within a couple meters of that Moira. So that's something that they can exploit from you because you started out on a bad team comp. You want to be able to at least heal. Like, we, instead of running a Lucio, we could run a Brig, and at least a Brig can throw the healing armor packs on me, and that can heal me. And then we can still brawl with the Ryan and Zarya and still get a lot of value that way. But you got to make sure you're getting value from that. Also, when you're playing a Widow, and this is something I do want to mention, is that if you're holding that choke and stuff, it's good that you can hold that choke, but also remember, you have a Widow that's not going to get really much value unless they're playing at an off angle. So when you are holding there, keep in mind that you can pull back a little bit and let them come in so that you can get that extra damage. There was about 15-20 seconds that I was just sitting there doing nothing. I was literally just sitting there watching and waiting for something to happen because I'm not doing anything. But if you guys are putting pressure on them and stuff, don't overkill yourself by doing that, by like pushing too far in when you have those other angles and stuff. So keep that in mind. You guys played fine there, but just keep that in mind. Also, when you're up a 5v6 and when you was getting those kills, they invest that Moira, and I think the Reaper killed the Moira as soon as you should have called to engage and pushed into their spawn. Do not let them get out for free and let them just sit there for free. You always want to make sure you punish those people when you have an advantage like that, okay? So keep that in mind. And if you feel like you push and then they use another ultimate, then get out. You have a Lucio for speed. Don't push in too hard. Just put more aggressive and try to get some more of the kills. So keep that in mind as well. Next thing, target calling seemed to be a lot better. I didn't see any major issues or anything like that when it came to target calling, so good job on target calling. Next thing is that we're going to work on our alt tracking. You did good overall. There were a couple times where you was telling us how they were playing and stuff. We don't give a shit if the Zarya's been playing aggressive and she might be getting close and she had T yesterday. Nobody cares. All we need is the name and percentage. Ideally, you want to give a name and percentage for every hero on the enemy team. So as soon as you hit tab, you're like, all right, Ryan's at 50, Zarya's at 90, Lucio's at 80, Moira's at 50, Reaper has ult, and Widow has ult. That's essentially how you want to say it. You want to get it in and out as fast as possible because we don't have a lot of time before team fights, okay? And the faster you get it out, the faster our shot caller can make a defensive play for what they may be doing. All right. So, and also one thing that you do want to keep in mind, when making defensive plays, this is the first time I've had to actually mention this since you are doing it. When making defensive plays, if they have two ultimates that they can use against us, you can make a defensive play for just Shatter or just Grav or anything, or you can just say Lucio, use Beat for if they use any of their tank ults. That can be an easier one because if they use Grav, we're gonna die. If they use if they use Shatter and we get shattered, we're gonna die as well. So either one can be used. You can keep that up to our Lucio if we need it. So save ult for one of their ultimates or something like that. So keep that in mind. Also, this is something really critical that you said that was really bad. It was 99 for us and 17% for them or so on the last point. And you was like, okay, we can use beat this fight since this is our last fight. What did you mean by that?
If we win that fight, then that's the last fight.
Okay, so it's not necessarily our last fight. We can lose 3 or 4 more fights. So don't say that it's our last fight. It is
It
we.
was our last fight.
Well, technically it was, but if we lose, it's saying that it's
I
our
know,
last
just-
fight. It's
yeah.
it's saying that everybody needs to use ults because it's our last fight, and we're only at 18%, so we can lose multiple fights. And you don't want to engage.
Well, my thing was they used Shatter and Grab the fight before, so it was kind of a free opportunity.
Okay, then that's the reason behind it. I didn't realize I wasn't paying attention to the grab and stuff. So if you knew that, okay, then good. Yeah, then yes, we definitely can do that. Because and the thing is, also when it comes to that, and this is something you want to understand too, is that we can lose multiple fights there. So even if we use beat and don't get any value from it, we still have 3 more fights that we can take, and we'll have another beat by then. So keep that in mind as well. But really good job on understanding they don't have any tank ults, or they don't have these ults. We're going to use these ults. We can freely use these ults. It's 99-0. We got fights to lose. And if we get, and the big thing when it comes to that and using ults to push in with stuff is going to be, did we get a kill here? If we did, let's go ahead and invest in ult. Any other time, you probably just want to let them use their ults because every fight's going to be their last fight. We can lose a couple by doing in with no ults there. Yeon Sungs, what is my tier? What do you mean by tier? No, was there any other questions or anything like that before?
Thank you for shouting at me to use that B at the last second.
Yeah, he was saying it multiple times, so I don't know if you can't hear him or something, but he said it like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, I heard him. I know he said use beat to start this.
I was trying to use it before that Ryan shattered, but I got shattered.
Well, if you're going to use it defensive, if you know they have shatter and you're going to use it for shatter, you do not need to be on the ground. You should be way in the air or wall riding, like 7 meters, I think is what it's like 3 meters or something. So make sure you're above the ground if you're going to be using it for shatter.
I have a question for Tyler. You said something about I'm still practicing Lucio and something, and then I'm like, oh, okay, do you want to go Lucio? And then you just, out of the blue, pick Moira when we said Baptiste Lucio, and you don't go Bap, you go Moira.
Oh.
So.
Oh, I wasn't sure what support to play. Like I asked what support, and then I heard Moira, so I just picked her.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Cause I heard him ask, cause I didn't hear what the other one was either, and then I heard him ask like, what was the other support, and then he didn't say anything, and then he just said Moira because it was like 2 seconds before the match started. We needed something, so I think he just said Moira, and then he went Moira.
Well, if you want to practice something or anything, and I take it, you can have it. Just say something.
No, yeah. Okay. And that goes the same for me. Like I said, if you want to play something, let me know. And, all right. Also, one thing also when building team comps, since we'll have enough time to play maybe 2 more. But Disco, when building team compositions, my SR right now, young, if that's what you're asking, is 3814. When building team you was gone. Well, I'm happy I didn't start anything. Disco, when building team comps.
I was about to.
Okay, I heard you say something. I didn't know if you said he was leaving, but I didn't say anything that you really need to hear. When building your team comps, I need you to be starting building team comps either with your tank or support line first, and then fill it with your DPS. Ideally, build your tanks, then build your supports, and then fill it with your DPS. Because your tanks will kind of define how you're going to be playing. Your supports can be like, what DPS can we play with it? And kind of how we're going to be playing with our tanks, and then you pick your DPS. It's a lot easier to pick it based that way rather than saying we need to go start with our DPS and then work with that, because our DPS is going to lock us into playing specific supports rather than the other way around. All right. So, and since DPS is the least needed role, like you don't necessarily need DPS, you want to build stuff around stuff that's going to win your games.
Determine the style of gonna be fighting.
Yeah, hopefully that answered your question, Sungs. If he was asking what rank I am, that's the SR that I'm at right now. 38, 14. Last season I was 37. Season before that was 37. So now I don't play that much comp anymore just because I don't have a lot of time. Hopefully I can start getting a little bit more time, but like right now, doing the YouTube stuff, trying to do these lobbies, all this stuff, it's a lot of extra time I'm doing rendering and all this stuff, it's a little hard. So after this lobby is done, we'll probably watch maybe some YouTube videos if you guys want to watch some YouTube videos for like maybe 15 minutes or so, and then I'll probably be going to bed or something like that. You know Korea. Do I know Korea? I don't know if that's a person or if you're asking if I know the language. I don't know a Korea, and I also don't know Korean. You live in Korea? Okay, cool. I've always wanted to visit overseas and stuff like that. Hopefully I can one day. Okay, so what are we playing here, Disco?
Rock the Sig again.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Reinhardt, and then if we can get a... Let's go with a...
I can't wait to eat. I'm so hungry. I think I'm gonna go get some food from somewhere.
Let's go Lucio and Baptiste. And then if we can switch the Lucio for a Mercy.
Okay.
And then
Attackers
Ashe.
incoming in 30 seconds.
Ashe and a Reaper.
My business, my rules.
I don't know where I want to go get food from though. I've had a lot of followers and a lot of like subs today. This is insane. And I normally don't stream on Sundays. It's just like a bonus stream. So it's really nice.
Attackers incoming.
Alright.
Defend objective
Ashe, hold back. Back up to that other high ground. Mercy, follow our Ashe.
They have a Widow.
We're going down.
Bastion.
I'm dropping down, fighting her.
Enemy
Ashe on the high ground in the back left.
I'm dead. Widow got me.
Alright, here's a Widow Maker up top right.
Widow up top.
Up that Widow. And Bastion down left.
Bastion.
I'm gonna go up top.
Widow
on that.
30%.
Widow down.
Hey, to look out for that Bastion.
Keep it. Bastion.
Nice.
Let's get baby.
Lucio on point.
Lucio's on point. Try not to call targets like that. Look.
Zen right here.
Is it burning?
We can keep pushing up here.
Yeah, okay. Hanzo's one.
Hanzo's one.
Oh, that's
Watch out
pretty
for that
good.
Bastion. Watch out for that Bastion.
Sorry, the personal's very low.
Back up. I don't have
Alright.
Ashe.
Lucio 50%.
Either one of the high ground.
I have
And
Widow.
Bastion 60%.
Is there no friendly or personal?
Sorry.
I have Bob.
You want me to Valkyrie fight?
Yeah, we can. We can bop it.
You going Bob still?
Diva.
Lucio top right.
Yeah, I see him.
Hanzo.
Hanzo's one.
Lucio's on Mega coming around right side behind you guys.
Lucio.
I missed 3 shots.
Baby.
Alright, what ults are we going to use this fight?
We're gonna use Rat, and Bob.
Bastion main.
Grab, Flux.
Bastion has ult.
We're using Flux and what?
Go ahead.
Also has ult.
Go Bob out.
Alright.
Getting Flux Bob.
Do something!
Sorry.
Is someone going back right?
He was on Mega.
Zen.
Bastion's low, back left. Bastion's flanking.
Bastion has ult.
Not with
Nothing wrong with a little
Everybody back up, let's do
self-improvement.
No.
We're gonna use gravitic flux. Can we use that now? I called it out for last fight, but you did not use it.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna talk about it after. Alright, what are we doing? We need to know what we're doing this fight.
Objective lost.
We're gonna go on the high ground here.
Stop the payload.
Let's go.
Use gravitic flux. And we're gonna try to use control with it.
Dragon.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Dash it out there. Just keep it in mind.
Flux here.
Alright, I'm ready.
Alright, Reaper, get him.
Dash in, dash in, dash in.
Dash is in.
Zen, zen, zen. Diva, diva, diva.
Hanzo got me. Hanzo's main.
But 80% of
Maybe.
There is.
Red's up front.
Zarno first.
Zarya.
That was not in the plan.
Mercy half.
Your Ashe is coming back right now.
I still have window.
and then Zarya has ult. And same with Zen.
We can use Hook out here.
Heroes never die. For a price.
Bastion, bastion.
You can use window. Window.
Bastion's one.
Bastion, bastion. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Zarya, Zarya. Hanzo.
Nice. Okay, can we ult track, Tyler?
Yeah, so Zarya has ult, and Reinhardt has it as well.
What about the
I'm
other
gonna
four?
hammer down here.
Bastion, 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 bastion. Put a shield, put a shield.
I have Bob.
Bastion, bastion, bastion.
You want Bob? Ooh.
Yes, Bob.
Oh, okay, I'm zoned out. Hold on.
Zarya here, Zarya on me.
Do something.
Keep fighting, keep fighting.
Who's Ryan? Who's Ryan?
Run slow. Mercy's behind. Not anymore.
Ryan.
Are we still fighting this?
Come back.
You just join the lobbies. Usually when I go live on stream,
Everybody group up. We're gonna use
Zarya and the
gravitic
Bastion.
flux.
join the lobby
Sorry,
when I
I'm
start, and you can feel free to join as long as you meet the requirements of the lobby that's going on.
Zen is around 70%.
Alright, let's go back out.
Focus Bastion.
Good, we gotta use gravitic flux.
Bastion,
really
bastion,
here.
bastion.
You want me to go?
Bastion, bastion.
Bastion's
Gravitic flux.
Heroes never die.
Try to pick
Good Bastion.
On to your left back.
Bastion's burning.
Right.
Hanzo's low.
Hanzo cart.
Go ahead and use reroll.
Bastion's behind.
Bastion behind us. I'm pushing him away.
What do you say?
Bastion behind us. Bastion dead.
I have window.
Alright, what do we use in this fight?
We're gonna go. We're gonna use Reaper ult and window if we need it.
David Dinkus.
Jim's on.
60 seconds remaining.
Put a shield.
Go ahead, push on this.
Ryan's low.
Ryan.
Zen's one.
Zen.
Watch the Bastion.
Bastion.
Push up.
The Mercy and the Bastion are gonna have ult for next fight.
Doom.
I have Bob.
I get the idea.
Alright, let's get the point. Don't let them see none.
No, they ain't gonna see none
Try
this
to
one.
take some high ground here. Let's use Echo. This fight. And Bob. Like mid fight.
Okay.
So you can engage with window.
Alright, they're here. Let's go.
Alright. In 3 seconds, use window.
Mercy has well.
Doom high ground.
Oh,
Doom. Punish doom.
Echo down.
is there no personal?
Victory.
Okay. So much better job overall.
Play of the
From what was going on. There's still a little bit of delay on your response on like if we need to use stuff and stuff like that. So that's fine. And then also running against a Bastion, and this is going to be something that I'll mention for everybody so you guys kind of understand how to deal with this. Bastion, if they run a Bastion on attack, it's super easy to deal with it. Because you don't necessarily need to swap your team comp up. You just need to wait for them to come around to an area where you have an advantage. Because ideally they're going to be on the card or something like that. Now, if they are playing a pirate ship or something like that, you're on defense, your main goal as a shot caller is kind of tells how our playstyle needs to be. Like, you cannot keep running the same playstyle against that Bastion. You need to change your whole playstyle. So all you gotta do is tell us to wait for him to come around the corner, wait for him to come to where we can get to, and you was telling us to take high ground really good, because, I mean, we definitely don't anything main, so take the high ground, drop all on him all at once, so we don't get any value from that. That's all you're kind of telling us to do, is literally wait for them to get to a certain area, and then you want to put hard pressure on that Bastion composition so he don't get any value from getting damage before we get close to him, which is complete opposite of what you was doing when we was running with the Orisa and stuff on Eichenwald. So much better job in change of play style and stuff and understanding that there. Now ultimates and stuff. Ultimates seemed like we was doing a pretty good job of rotating ultimates. There's a little bit of hiccups and stuff like that. Now I do want to mention for everybody, and this happened with our shot caller, but this is literally for everybody else. Do not talk about what happened in the past, please. It wastes time. Like when he was like, "Oh, we should have." I was calling for this ultimate. We should have used this last fight, or blah blah blah. It took you 5 seconds to say that, which you should have already told us where we need to rotate to, if we need to switch anything up. All these answers need to be changed or said, and what we need to be doing so we can have that play in place. Okay, never talk about what happened in the past because it doesn't matter. Always talk about what you're going to do next fight. Don't worry about what happened. Next thing is target calling. Excellent. It seems like you're listening to things that are going on behind you and calling targets when we need to swap stuff up and going from there. So good job on that. Don't really have anything else to say on that one. I would say if you can, maybe try to increase your voice a little bit. If you can't due to people sleeping or your hardware issues or anything like that, fine, no worries there. But to elevate the gameplay and stuff, since there is like a lot of stuff, you can increase your volume a little bit more there. Alt tracking is okay. It's getting better. You are trying to call out a little bit more of their ultimates, but there are times where you're just telling us what they are going to have. Still give us some insight on how much their other heroes have, because if they're at 70-80%, that means we don't want to have this fight drag on for too long, because they're going to have that fight if they have the fight lasting for so long, they're going to build their ult with that fight midway through. So keep that in mind as well, and that's why it's important to let us know all 6 ultimates. I'm in personal voice volume at 70 because I don't want to break some. Oh, that's fine. No, you're good. So other than that, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the end of the lobby because there's only like a couple minutes left. All right, so hopefully you guys learned a little bit about communication and all that type of stuff. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to go ahead and ask. If you guys want to join these lobbies more often, I do these lobbies pretty much every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Communication lobbies on Sundays, golden unders on Thursdays. Communication lobbies are for sure on Mondays. Golden under lobbies are on Thursdays, and then a variety on Tuesdays, depending on what I want to do. And then I do other content and stuff like that on those days. My stream is Mpulse_W if you want to follow along and do that. If not, you can add me as a friend. Know when I go live and stuff. If you do add me as a friend, please don't try to send me messages because I'm not going to see that. And also you can follow along on YouTube at Mpulse or Twitter and stuff like that. I got all the other plugs and stuff. But other than that, any questions?